Look at verse 5, Joshua 1, verse 5. He says, no man shall be able to stand before you. This is Yahweh speaking to Joshua right before they're getting ready to enter into Canaan. He says, no man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, I will be with you. I will not leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and of good courage. For to this people you shall divide as an inheritance the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the Torah which Moses my servant commanded you. Go back to that again. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. This book of the Torah shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night. That's Psalm 1. That you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Really, the whole point of Yeshua's coming, Matthew 1:23. Matthew 1:23, he will be Emmanuel, God with us. The whole point of all that God is doing is this, so that he can be with us. That's the whole thing. The whole thing is about the presence of God with us. That's what this is all about. That we would be sheep following a shepherd, a king. This is why, as a king, what does he keep saying? Yeshua, when he comes here, I'm the good shepherd. But then listen to how he talks. Seek first the kingdom. Pray that the kingdom will come. Advance the kingdom. It's all about a king. A king, a shepherd. Either one, either or, both and. And my sheep will hear my voice, and I'll be with them. I want you to follow me. But the way you follow me is by doing what I ask you to do. If you're not doing what I'm asking, you're not following. You're going a different direction. You're going off the reservation. I'll have to draw you back. That may be painful at times. I'm willing to do that. But I'd rather just you follow me. I'd rather you just submit and go where I go. You know why? Because I'll protect you and I'll provide for you. Just as I did for the children of Israel. 40 years in the wilderness, they never lacked food, never lacked water. Nothing ever deteriorated. I can do this. I've been doing it. So this is why the psalmist can say, the Lord is my shepherd, and he's with us. Now, I'm going to move to the end here. In the last verse of this psalm, and there's so much here in this psalm is huge. I note that we have a couple of translation issues. For those of you that have translations, you never have to worry about these translation issues because they're already solved for you by the time you get to the translation. So you don't have to struggle with how the wording is because the wording is already determined for you. However, let me suggest to you that there is some possibilities, more than one possibility, in a couple of ways that this last verse is read. Let me read you the way it's normally read. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Okay, that's how it's normally read. So now I'm going to read you what I wrote. In the last verse of Psalm 6, Hebrew readers of the text are given some translation options not available to English readers of the modern Bible. The first option comes with the word that is often translated dwell. Most Hebrew words have a trilateral root but lose letters from the beginning or end of the word due to other grammatical additions on the front or back of the word. The Hebrew word yashav can mean to sit or dwell, and that's how most translations move us. There is also the possibility that the root could be from the word shuv, which would mean turn or return. Thus the text could be saying, I will return to the house of the Lord, instead of saying, I will dwell in the house of the Lord. Okay? The second thing a Hebrew reader will see is that traditional words for forever are not used in this text. Normally you would have leolam ba'ed, something to that effect, leolam or leolam ba'ed. The last two Hebrew words of this psalm are l'orek yamim, for length of days. And this is governed by the previous line where the psalmist says, all the days of my life. The psalmist could think of nothing better than to spend his time in the house of the Lord, temple, where the presence of God lived in residence. Look, for the length of days, for as long as I live, I just want to be in the temple. Why? Because that's where the presence of God is. That's where it's concentrated. It's not as if God isn't everywhere, so to speak. It's not that he's not omnipresent. It's just that there's a special concentration of his presence in the temple. There's somehow this temple is just extra special with the presence of God. He has concentrated his presence there, so to speak. So this is why Jonah, in chapter 2, he also says, you know what, I want to go back to the temple. I want to go back to the temple and just be in the presence of God. So today, I mean, we don't think in terms of a place having the presence of God. God could be present amongst us, which is probably why we have a difficulty with the incarnation. It doesn't seem real to us that the presence of God could be focalized in a human being, that you could actually have it in a person and just be here with you. We tend to think of God's presence as otherworldly, as heaven, that's why we want to go to heaven, because we want to be in the presence of God. And the irony is he keeps saying, I'm coming down here. I want to be in the presence here. I want my spirit to be here. I want my person to be here. I want my temple to be here. I want everything here. So I want it to be, may your kingdom come, your will be done on earth. It's already, everything's the way it's supposed to be up there. I want to get everything where it's supposed to be down here, where my presence is here, and we are dwelling together. You're following me, I'm leading, and I provide everything you need. And everything is the way it's supposed to be. Somebody asked me the other day, it was interesting, at Life Center, somebody asked me, well, what does the word shalom mean? I said, well, you know, it's the idea of you could say hello and goodbye. It's like aloha in Hawaiian. You know, it's good for hello and goodbye. But I said, you know what really shalom is? They kind of looked at me like, I said, shalom really is the world as it's supposed to be. Wholeness and righteousness and godliness coming from everyone as they're being led by God. That's shalom. When the world is as it should be.
Without chaos.
Without chaos.
Absence of chaos.
Without sin, without death, without rebellion. True shalom is where everything is as God intended it to be from the beginning. Now, it's our job to work towards that and to bring as much shalom to bear as we can. I was talking with another individual and talking about how that there's so many problems in the world that are so systemic and overwhelming that you end up kind of throwing your hands up in despair that there's ever a way to bring wholeness and shalom to that situation. Especially when you have governments that are promoting the chaos. and I include my own government in that. But those of you that have been to third world countries, you know, you end up having to bribe government officials in order to get anywhere. You have to, they're paid government officials, but in order for you to grease the skids and move things along without getting in trouble, you have to bribe them. I mean, imagine a state trooper pulls you over and says, you know what, I'll tell you what, I can write you a $100 ticket, or, you know, you slip me a 20, and all this just goes away. I just forget I ever pulled you over.
That works in Mexico.
Yeah. That works in Mexico.
And yeah, sometimes Montana.
Yes.
So you have to pull out, you know, $20 bill, and you just pay them right there.
Just keep pulling out.
Mordita.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. We did that with our passports. We did it with our passports. We put money in our passport. You put your passport down at the, because you know that if you don't do that, they're just going to keep messing with you. Yeah. So when you lay your passport down, you put a money inside the passport, and you hand it to them.
Yep. Wow. And
You go right through.
No, that's Mexico. That's Mexico. You go right through. All of a sudden, it's like, no problem. See ya. Be on your way. Without the money, it's, so why are you here? How long are you planning on being here? And they just keep jerking around with you. We got pulled over in a bus. We got pulled over in a bus in Mexico City. Mexico City is 17 million people. The traffic there is 8 lanes going 16 lanes. Imagine this, all going, so you got 16, 8 going one way, 8 going the other, and we're in bumper-to-bumper traffic. We're not moving. We're in a bus. We got pulled over by the Mexican police because they recognized us as Americans. And they said, we need money from all of you or we'll take you to jail.
Yeah.
And we said, well, why? Why did you pull us over? We're speeding.
Wait a minute.
I said,
Park.
we're thinking, look at this traffic. How can you, nobody can speed this if they want to do. This is all bumper to bumper.
New rule.
New rule. Yeah. New rules we got. Yeah. Just for you. New law, just for you.
Lucky you.
Lucky you. But you know what? But the thing is this. That my point is this. That and here's an example of one of these systemic problems. One of these systemic problems that I don't even know where to begin. I mean, we've got some groups that are doing a little bit here, a little bit there. Sex trafficking.
Oh, yeah.
It's all over the world. It's in our own country. It's in our, so it's not just over there. It's here too, because we're right next to the Pacific Rim. We're right next to the Pacific Rim. Prostitution, huge in this country. It's where we are. And how do you fight sometimes an enemy you can't even see?
You're after our children.
Yeah, so sometimes these problems are so humongous that to try to even, you can do a little bit and you say, okay, God, just bless our efforts because it's so meager, it's so small. Here's another one for you. All of us in this room, we don't even worry about where we are going to get a drink of water. We don't even think about that. There's so many places in the world that they don't have clean water. Just the idea of water. I told you a couple years back, I worked with a little group that we put together loads of books that we sent to the Philippine Islands, a series of islands. So we gave them all these books to a mission down there, and the pastor said to us afterwards, he says, look, I don't want to seem ungrateful. I appreciate the books, you guys. But if you really, really want to help us, we could use water. We thought they needed books, so we sent them a bunch of books. I said, we got kids too sick to read because the water here is just foul. It's just polluted. So we don't even think about that. We turn on a tap, nice, clean running water. We buy bottled water because we don't even want to drink from the tap. So we have, what do? We want to make sure our water is filtered and that it's clean. There's nothing inside of it that contaminates. And we don't even think that there's other large portions of the world who don't have that. And because of their lack, they're sick and dying. It's where we are. And how do we begin addressing this this is shalom. And shalom is real world. Real world bearing God's presence. Us, this is our call to bring the presence of God, His shalom, to bear on these big issues. No matter how big they are, to try to at least do what we can. Yes.
Getting back to the shepherd, our duty in the vineyard is to get sheep into the fold.
Absolutely.
Because there's a day coming when the sheep that are in the fold, Yeshua will gather together and deliver them unto the owner of the flock, which is our Father. And He will be our God, and we will be His children forever and evermore. So this behooves us to stay in the fold.
Absolutely. And let me suggest this as well, just a thought, that sometimes maybe the biggest mission field is the church. That there are many within it who have made a profession of faith, but do not have a possession of faith. So we shouldn't neglect that as well. I mean, there are brothers and sisters there as well, but there's also those within that need to be brought into the fold. So it's not either or, it's a both and. So yes, we have work to do, a lot of work to do to advance the kingdom of God.
Our battle is not the battle of flesh and blood, but it's against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Absolutely.
We
Yes,
see
this
that
is-
today.
This is why the battle is engaged, is because it is about spiritual wickedness in high places.